Time for the popcorn. I don't know if you watch this New York mayoral debate, but I mean, we wonk out on these. Like, this is primetime entertainment for Mario and I. When we've got a ripper like this, especially when you're in an off cycle, we stop down. Thank God for C-SPAN and the internet, of course. We all had a chance to watch this thing with Curtis Sliwa without the beret. He's had a whole makeover in this campaign. Of course, a more svelte-looking former governor Cuomo and Zoran Mamdani, whose name Curtis Sliwa seemed to struggle with last evening. This is a race that a lot of people think they have figured out already, including the President of the United States, because Mamdani is so far ahead. Yes. And it's unclear that anything changed last night.
No, absolutely. Besides politics, I'm also a fan of the sweet science. And when you're down in the cards, as Cuomo is right now, you have to come out throwing some haymakers with the intent to at least get a knockout.
Isn't that right?
Mamdani, when you're up with the cards, you just want to make sure that you're just landing jabs, that you stay clean for the most part.
Listen,
and that seems to be what we had last night with the debate.
You going to fights this weekend?
I wish that I would.
Love this. Well, here's a little taste of what we saw with these candidates last evening in the debate.
This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die.
Sir Mamdani, want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Wow. That was a clearly prepared Mamdani who, for every zinger or point that Cuomo tried to make, he had a better one, it seemed, coming back.
Yeah, that was a haymaker.
That wasn't okay. There you go.
To the anecdote, and that was a haymaker from the person that is up right now. And that's to our point. That's the one that really went viral that we saw. Circulating in political circles.
He had some good lines. I mean, they clearly spent time preparing for this opportunity. And you're talking about a candidate who was already some 30 points ahead, depending on the poll. Let's assemble our panel, because they love this stuff as much as we do. Bloomberg Politics contributor Jeannie Sheehan Zaino. By the way, in New York, democracy visiting fellow at Harvard Kennedy School's Ash Center, but of course, our New York representative on this program. Lisa Camuso Miller with us here in the Capitol, former RNC communications director, our Republican strategist, and host of the Friday Reporter podcast. Now, I'm going to just warn everybody, I'm going to get your breakfast bodega order before this segment is out. But let's start, Jeannie, with style and substance. Did Mamdani just codify the polls last evening? Is he as good as New York's next mayor?
Yeah, and I love Mario. What was it? The sweet science? I'm learning all these new phrases from Mario. I'm loving this. Yeah, and by the way, Joe, I was on an Amtrak from Boston to New York City, and you can bet I got myself all ready, and I was able to stream. So thank God for streaming, and boy, it was worth it. Yeah, thank you. You know, I think the reality is that, as you mentioned, the polls, the Fox poll had Mamdani up 25%. Cuomo has a long way to go. And of course, it would be a race that Cuomo wants to see in a head-to-head. But Curtis Sliwa is going nowhere, except losing his beret, as you mentioned. He is going nowhere. And he had some of the best lines of the night. And Cuomo could not lay a glove on Zoran Mamdani. And, you know, he didn't get any of those sort of viral moments. In fact, the best moments that Andrew Cuomo had, I think, were when he was talking about his experience as a manager. But of course, Mamdani was able to come back and say, well, wait a minute, defend yourself and everything you did with the nursing homes. And he couldn't defend himself. But on housing and other things, Andrew Cuomo showed that that experience in HUD and elsewhere does matter. And then, of course, Mamdani was smooth as a cucumber. He was smiling the whole time, unflappable, and didn't make any errors. And so in this kind of race, they have one more debate, which is next Wednesday, or next week, I should say. And unless Andrew Cuomo can lay a glove on him, or really, unless Sliwa gets out of the race, which he shows no signs of doing, this thing is probably a done deal, and Mamdani is going to walk into Gracie Mansion.
And Lisa, I want to get your take on whether you think that Andrew Cuomo has a chance to come back. I mean, in this final stretch. What's odd, I think, is the fact that you got President Trump, a Republican. He and Cuomo, there's no love lost there. But he's kind of tacitly endorsing or pushing for Cuomo, warning of Mamdani's mayoral campaign and likening it to some type of democratic revolution or some such. Can Cuomo dig himself out of this hole?
You know, Mario, I think you make a really good point, and it's one that I don't think that Cuomo can come out from. I think both he and Curtis Sliwa represent the old guard and the old news in New York. And we know how Manhattan likes to vote. I mean, we know how the city likes to operate. All those boroughs really make those decisions based on who can affect change at a time when people are looking for it. And I think that that's what is represented in this candidate. The president, though, absolutely wants to be able to have an advocate in the city, in Gracie Mansion, someone that maybe isn't his best friend, but one that he can predict, one that he can understand where he's going to go. I've heard other political people say that maybe Mamdani is the best foil for Donald Trump because he can appoint to New York City over and over again as a city that's not performing the way the president thinks it ought to be. So to me, there's no way that Mamdani does not win. To me, as long as he makes no more errors, last night's debate was a tremendous performance on his part and good for him.
Well, there you go, from both our Democrat and Republican members of the panel. Cuomo is making the point, Jeannie, that if you elect Mamdani, you're going to have Mayor Trump because tanks will be rolling in the streets of New York before election night is even over. Curtis Sliwa had a different take on this. Let's listen to what Mr. Sliwa had to say.
The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive, but let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
and you have a difficult
Guard?
Understanding that what the term no is. You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
I agree with Curtis.
I agree with Curtis. Mamdani gets in there. First of all, I mean, he's got the right accent for the job, Jeannie. I guess that's just not worth enough to put him over the top here. But does he have a point when it comes to Cuomo? We talked about the difficulty he had in the primary. His ability to recover seems impossible. Slee was essentially providing the same analysis you are.
Yeah, and Curtis Sliwa, I'm telling you, it's a debate to rewatch. He had so many good zingers. He was calling Cuomo the architect or the father, and Mamdani the apprentice. I mean, for people who don't like politicians to begin with, it's a great quip. And you know, Donald Trump was really the candidate on the stage who wasn't there. I mean, they kept talking about him, and it's a big deal in New York. There is no love lost for hometown boy Donald Trump in New York City, as we all know. And so, you know, Curtis Sliwa really did have a really good comeback to Andrew Cuomo. And of course, so did Mamdani, because Mamdani said, you know, the reality is with Donald Trump, number one, he's been attacking New York regardless of who's here or not. And number two, you know, the reality is that Andrew Cuomo is going to be another Eric Adams. He's going to be in Donald Trump's pocket. He's, you know, subject, as Mamdani says, to the same big billionaire donors and blah, blah, blah. And so that is an attractive message for New Yorkers. You know, for Mamdani, Trump's continued attacks are really helpful in a city that doesn't like Donald Trump that much. And one thing I would say about Sliwa, he's a different Republican because he's a leading Republican, obviously, but one that Donald Trump doesn't like either. I mean, he accused him of wanting to bring his cats into Gracie Mansion. And so, you know, for Curtis Sliwa, he's walking this very tight line. He has a lot of cats, for anybody who doesn't know. I love cats, so I have no problem with it.
No cats on stage last evening. And, you know, if you made it through this remarkable debate, you get to the softy questions at the end. Usually they'll ask you if you could say something nice about the other opponent. Last night it was about breakfast. And if you're a New Yorker and you're asked, I'm looking at you, Lisa Cabuso Miller, who called the New Jersey governor's race based on a pork roll comment from Mikey Sherrill. The food stuff's important. If you want to pretend to be local, you're never going to fool them. And the question last night was, what is your breakfast bodega order? Let's listen.
What's your go-to breakfast order at the bodega, Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, eggs and cheese on a roll. No salt, please.
Mr. Cuomo?
Same thing, no salt also.
Mr. Mamdani?
Egg and cheese on a roll with jalapeños.
Ah, see? But wait, you can't pick the same thing as the first guy, even if that was your order. Don't you need to change it? Right down to the no salt? It got us talking here in the newsroom, Jeannie and Lisa, and this became a cause here for the program on Balance of Power. We thought we'd take a little survey. The Balance of Power Team Bodega orders, we're all part of this now. I'm just going to come right out with it. I'm a bacon, egg, and cheese on an English muffin guy. You can call me an elitist, but that's what I'm going to do. It turns out I might not be alone. Justin and America's producer, James Mahoney, both went bacon, egg, and cheese, but they went with the SPK, Mario. Salt, pepper, ketchup. Elizabeth, egg and cheese on a roll. CC, sausage, egg, and cheese, just like Nicholas. Salt and pepper on one. Pepper and ketchup on the other. So Nicholas is going no salt. How about you? We got a minute left.
Well, I'm from Chicago, so we don't really do the bodegas.
No.
But I do see in the movies where they walk in and say, hey, give me a chopped cheese.
Okay. Just like the movies, Lisa, you're the food expert here when it comes to politics. Did Cuomo just lose the race based on this one question?
Nah, but listen, it's pork roll, egg, and cheese all the way on a hard roll. That's the way to go. And the no salt just reminds us that these guys are old.
Jeannie, are you going to give me some tofu or something? What are you hitting at the bodega?
Worse. Number one, I feel so much empathy for Andrew Cuomo because I would have been like, the same, I guess. I have no idea. Because I would just do coffee. I would be doing my coffee. I have nothing. I defer to Lisa.
Yeah. Black coffee would have been a pretty cool answer, I have to admit.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, JD Shan, Zaino, Lisa Camuso Miller. Thank you so much for joining us here at Balance of Power.
A great hour. We're going to be, by the way, in New York for the election. We'll have special coverage that evening when we come around to November. We'll talk more about that between now and then. Great spending the week with you, Mario Parker. Have a great weekend. Have fun at the fights. I'm Joe Matthew. This is Bloomberg.